I'm 23 years old, traveling alone, when a stranger at a truck stop in Wyoming offers me a lot of money for sex. Now that summer I was working an unpaid internship at Fort Laramie National Historic Site. You know the deal where they give you a place to live and $60 a week for food. So I'd been home to Fort Collins on my weekend, and I had to stop and fill up the gas tank for the second time on this trip, because I drove a 72 Plymouth Fury station wagon. It was 18.5 feet long. It got 12 miles to the gallon on a good day, and every 200 miles I had to put in a quart of oil. So filling up the tank on this thing was gonna be a big chunk of change for me. But I pull into the truck stop and I look around for an island where there's a family, because a couple years earlier I had been with my best friend traveling in Iowa, and her car broke down, and this 60-year-old toothless trucker helped us get it running again, and then for payment grabbed her and kissed her without her permission, and I was like 5 feet away and couldn't do anything about it. So, lesson learned, men in public tend to behave better when they're with their families. So I pull in across from this family and I get out of the car. The wind is blowing like crazy. My hair is going all over everywhere. I go to pull it back in a ponytail. The wind slams the car door shut. And I get over to the pump. I'm still doing that sort of safety scan, the automatic thing, you know, make sure everything's cool. The family's actually leaving, but I can see the clerk inside the store. And then this car pulls up across from me on the pump next to me. And this guy gets out. The car is, you know, this old sedan. It's nothing fancy. He gets out. He's got long, dark hair. It's blowing all around his face. He pulls it back into a ponytail, and our eyes meet. And, you know, he's reasonably good looking. And, you know, I'm at a truck stop. So my smile is really only about the ponytail thing. But he says, "You look like Lois Lane." I mean, what does that even mean? I'm thinking the third Superman movie had come out the year before with Christopher Reeve, and Margot Kidder played Lois Lane, but I don't really look like Margot Kidder. And before I figure out that he thinks he's Superman, he says, "I'll give you $9,000 to be your stoned sex slave for a week." Well, now I'm taking another look at this guy. I mean, if I had met him at a party and he'd used a different pickup line, I might have been interested. But I'm guessing if he has $9,000, it's because he has a trunk full of Mexican weed. And I'm embarrassed to tell you that it didn't even occur to me to be insulted. I mean, it wasn't the first time that some guy had assumed I would be available for sex on his terms because I was a woman in his presence. But I can see some of you know what I'm talking about. But I was having a really bad hair day. I was having kind of a bad skin day. My face hadn't lost its baby fat. It was 1984, so my glasses were as big as my face. I was really confused. But I'm also now completely reassessing this guy for the creep factor, because stoned sex slave. And he doesn't really seem like the guy at the Iowa truck stop. I mean, I don't think Superman's going to leap over the pump and just grab me. He's definitely got more of that stoner vibe. And maybe, probably, he's just high. But still. I had never turned a trick, but I was not naive. And I figured if I went anywhere with this guy, I was going to end up dumped on the side of the road somewhere, badly traumatized or dead. And besides, I had my unpaid internship to return to. And then I realized I haven't even responded yet. It was such a stunning offer, you know? And all of this has only taken a few seconds to go through my mind. But he's looking at me like I'm actually considering the question. So I'm like, "No thanks," but with a smile, because if he's got a trunk full of Mexican weed, maybe he's also got a gun, and I really just want to diffuse the whole situation. So he turns away. I go and grab the squeegee with the nice long stick. I go around to the other side of my car. I'm washing the windshield and keeping an eye on Superman over there. And he seems to have taken no for an answer, at least for now. And so I allow myself this moment of this really hot fantasy about the money. I could get a much better car. We make eye contact one more time, but I look away and he gets in his car and drives off, taking that economic fantasy with him. I watch as he turns the opposite direction of where I'm going to go, and then I start to laugh because I have just survived this really weird situation, and in some absurd and sick way, I'm flattered. I mean, $9,000. But now I look back and I just think how twisted that whole interaction was. The real trick, I think, is finding compassion for how young and messed up we both were. And maybe that's where the treat lies, too. Thank you.